Let's move to Parliament, where government decided it was no longer going to collect road tolls. Hundreds of employees who buttered their bread doing that job were promised adequate compensation, but months down the line, their salary arrears and severance has not been paid. A few weeks ago, the workers, some of whom are persons with a disability, besieged the Roads and Highways Ministry demanding payment. Speaking to Joy News, ranking member on Roads and Highways Committee governs Kwame Agbodza took on the finance minister for turning a blind eye to the concerns of these former road toll collectors.
I checked, they attempted to continuing to pay the disabled people. I don't know if that's still ongoing, but it wasn't only disabled people who were working on in the toll booths, because the toll booths are not only on Accra to Mamoto, they are all over the country. The finance minister appeared in the house and said nobody will go home, and he made a blanket statement. The truth is that almost everybody is gone home, and they are not paying them, because that 78 million Ghana cedi, which they claim is not enough money, for me, is enough money. And then minority was ready to support government to increase the road tolls, and we are honest about it. I say that if I drive Land Cruiser and then government asks me to pay 3 cedi or 4 cedi, whatever, to cross the motorway, I don't think Ghanaians are going to be crying for me, because if you can afford that kind of vehicle, you can bet. I will be interested in knowing that that impact does not hit the trotro or the Uber driver more. But they decided not to take up that option. And today, you see the state of the toll booths across the country. They are getting dilapidated, they are getting vandalized, they are causing accidents and other things, and people are at home working. The finance minister wears a white shirt, speaks, and every statement in Parliament starting with a Bible quotation, and lies about it. Today, he told us none of those people will lose their job. The truth is that the God you and I serve, and the God he serves, is aware that he's not paying them. The people are home, they are jobless. So what can we do about it? We've done everything. In fact, you saw Speaker direct that the toll booths should be reactivated. They insulted him in various ways. There are senior people in that party, and they've just ignored him. So there's a limit to what we can do as an opposition party. We need to raise the issues and demand that government respect the laws and bring them there. So I sympathize with those people who are home.
Parliamentary correspondent Kweku Asante joins me with more from Parliament. Kweku, what more are the minority willing to do to get these former workers paid?
So, Aisha, tomorrow the Finance Minister, Ken Oforiatta, is scheduled to answer questions on how much government has spent on COVID expenditure. The minority is set to make such a big push with some of these issues. You know, in the past 2-3 weeks, the minority have been praying the majority side to try and get the finance minister to come to Parliament and answer a myriad of questions. They've not been successful, but tomorrow they have a fair shot at that. And so we are expecting that tomorrow, Kwame Agbodza himself, who is the ranking on the Roads and Transport Committee, will raise these issues and ensure that the finance minister answers some of these questions. And so that is the kind of commitment they are making. Already the committee has been having hearings to try and find some solution for these unpaid workers. They've not had so much of a success. And so tomorrow will be one good time to ask the finance minister directly when he is making such payments. Aisha.
So, Kweku, you've also been probing the Tamale International Airport controversy and claims that it was the idea of the Eswell Mahama administration. Tell us more.
So this week, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was in the northern part of the country, and he visited the Tamale International Airport, which is under construction. It has since become a political football game between the NPP and NDC, with both parties claiming that the idea or the infrastructure project is to their credits. The NPP has laid claim to it. The NDC is also laying claim. According to Kwame Agbodza, the NPP government has done nothing about the project, and it's actually the erstwhile John Mahama administration that found the funds and passed the agreement before the NPP came into office. And so the NPP cannot lay claim to that project. Let's listen to Kwame Agbodza.
Somewhere after the government changed, the developer decided to change the lender, which they could have done that without coming to Parliament. But our constitution does not allow them to do that because it's an international transaction. So they came to Parliament. So when you look at what we said at the Finance Committee and everything, so the Road and Transport Committee had little to do with it because they were only changing the financing. So I remember my good friend, Dr. Asibe Yeboah, was in charge and repeated why we needed to do that. So it changes. So, and there's nothing wrong if the Vice President Bawumia visits site when he's in the area. That is appropriate to encourage the contractors and ask them questions. But an attempt to pretend that this was anything to do with NPP, they decided to do this project. I mean, I think the Vice President has come to a point where he needed to be considerate about his own reputation and not to just jump to think that he can take credit for where it's not due. If he says that, oh yes, the truth is that where this project was here before we came, the lender decided to, the developer changed the lender, that would have been stating the fact. But any attempt to say it's the vision of President Akufo-Addo everything is a total lie, and we shouldn't be going there at all.
Right. Some would say that you passed the agreement in 2016. Yes. Was just at the twilight of the administration and you left. Yes. And then this government came, they probably had to follow up to try and get the money and other things before these agreements changed. And so simply because you passed the agreement does not mean that you can lay claim to that.
Every project has got a gestation period, especially when it's a 10K project. It's anything between 6 months and 1 year. In fact, recently we passed an agreement to build some hospitals, Yenswan or in other things, under the same government. Just recently, they have to come back to Parliament to change the lender.